Welcome back to Channel Business Global with me, Juliana Olayinka, from our studios here in London. Here are some fast digital facts for you. Africa had the fastest growth in internet access of the world's regions between 2005 and 2018, jumping from just 2.1% of the population to 24.4%. The continent is also home to the fastest growing mobile phone industry, with 20% annual growth between 2005 and 2017. Now, analysts estimate that half of Africa's population will have a mobile phone subscription by 2025. Now, opportunity is the buzzword that screams out of those statistics, and opportunity is what I'll be discussing with my next guest, JJ Omojuwa. He's the author of Digital, the New Code of Wealth. Where would you describe Africa? Where are we at the moment in this digital revolution?
I'd say we're at the seeding stage. A lot of big things are happening, but I think it's the beginning of a lot of great things to happen in the future. And I think any smart African government will just look to make sure that they're not left behind. I'm really excited with respect to Nigeria, for instance. They just added digital economy to the Ministry of Communications, which I think is a step in the right direction. And a lot of other great things are happening at on the continent. So I'd say we're at the seeding stage.
We're definitely at the seeding stage here. I just listed some hard facts, and I said opportunity was the buzzword, but opportunity isn't just in digital. Opportunity is a word that you can be using to describe every sector of Nigeria's economy, and some of us are sick of that. We don't want opportunity, we want results, and we wanted those results yesterday. When it comes to the digital economy, a lot of people are saying that it's hampered on the continent, and particularly in Nigeria, because of lack of infrastructure, lack of electricity. It's expensive to use your mobile phone and stream things. How do you think the government are doing in those efforts to stop those issues?
I made some very important arguments in the book, mentioning how, for instance, government sometimes says they're interested in making change happen in this with respect to digital economy. But when you charge the kind of money that Nigeria charges to lay fiber optic cables, it's like government is literally standing in the way of people's access to the internet. So I made arguments as to how government might have to literally get out of the way for these things to happen. I'm hoping that the minister, Professor Issa Pantami, would make a lot of advances in that regard. On this particular issue, I don't want to start looking out to blame the government. I think it's more important to show what can be done, what should be done, because everybody's trying to see what's the right thing to do. It's not exactly a new industry, yes, but in a certain sense, it's a new space. And that's why we just have our first ever Ministry of Digital Economy. So what we must now do is find a way to bring everybody on board. When I say everybody, all the stakeholders, venture capitalists, the entrepreneurs, the founders, all of these people, and then ask questions as to, so what can we do? What can we learn from those that have gone, the likes of China, India, even the United States, Estonia, even Mauritius down in Africa. There are certain things we can also learn from Kenya, even though Nigeria seems to actually doing well in terms of how individual Nigerians and private Nigerians have done stuff. But on the government side, we've not exactly done the right things. But unfortunately, when government tries to get involved with a new industry, they're always looking at taxing. They're always looking at, we have this rentier mentality because of where we're coming from with oil. But this is not oil. This is not an oil economy where people go to dig for the wealth and then you say, okay, where's our share? This is an economy where you actually have to go out of your way to nurture. You have to do everything to make sure that the companies are growing, the ones that are starting out are growing, the ones that have grown are scaling, because we have a huge opportunity to create unprecedented wealth and jobs. And it's not for luxury. We have to do that because the numbers are really, really bad. In terms of poverty now and in terms of poverty in the future, if we don't create not just the right jobs, but also many jobs. The reason is because we're growing in terms of our birth rate, we're growing so incrementally, but our growth rate in terms of the economy is not, the economy is growing, but it's not growing enough at the rate that it needs to grow for us to meet.
It's undeniable that there's a massive gap, and the gap between the rich and poor is a lot on the continent, particularly in Nigeria. Let me talk about recently, we had Jack Ma, the billion-dollar founder of Alibaba, which is a giant online retail space. And we also had Jack Dorsey, who is the founder of a popular social social media site that you and I and several of our viewers like to go on Twitter. What did you think, as like an observer? Of course, you were here, unfortunately. But what did you think of their presence in Nigeria? What do you take away from that?
I think it's a clear indication of the future. It's a clear indication that if you're looking at Nigeria, whatever you're seeing, you better see what these guys are seeing. So the thing is, if someone has gone ahead of you, sometimes if you can't see the future, you can't see the past, or you don't know what's going on, just look at what those that are getting it right are doing or what they are saying. Mostly what they're doing, because sometimes they're saying something, but they're doing something different. So if Jack Ma is coming to Nigeria, if Twitter is coming to Nigeria...
Zuckerberg was there a couple of years ago.
Mark was in Nigeria. Somehow, when these guys are in Nigeria, I'm never in Nigeria. But it's fine. It's about the culture now, not just about the individual.
Yes.
It's an indication that Nigeria definitely has something to offer. If those things are not showing now, those things are at least there as potentials. And a business-minded person, a future-focused person will be asking, what are they seeing? Why are they so interested? Because these guys are not charity workers. They don't just move around
for the
sake of let's change the world and let's help the world. They move around where either the money is or where the money is definitely going to be. And I think Nigeria is a huge mine of opportunities.
Well, hopefully there'll be some takeaways that can trickle down to everybody. Let's talk about your new book, which sadly we don't have here today, but it is available on Amazon. Digital, the New Code of Wealth. What drove you into writing this? It's not easy to finish a book, and it's quite thick.
Yeah, like almost 400 pages. I think, first of all, it's the reality that the future, the next 30 years are going to be really so bad for Africa if we don't take some very, very important decisions. The numbers don't look good. About 86% of the world's poorest people will be living in Africa by 2050. 40% of those people will be in Congo DR and Nigeria. So we need to, that's if things continue to happen at this rate. So we need to really, catalyze change, catalyze prosperity, scale current opportunities, create new ones. And that was the essence of writing it. Also, I had a plan in 2019 in 2009 that sort of closes in 2019. And so that was the end of a chapter for me. And that's why
it took 10 years.
I mean, that particular phase of my life was 10 years.
Yes.
And so the book was a closure to that phase. And, my departure to come to UCL was like a kind of beginning for the next decade, which, I mean, not just me, everybody's going into the next decade in about, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 days.
Couple of weeks.
Yeah, so it was a closure, but also a rendition of opportunities in the digital economy, because too many people they're just in these spaces, they don't exactly know what it's about. They're just, making noise and fighting and dragging themselves. Those things are fun. But there's a lot more going on, and a lot of Nigerians whilst being in Nigeria, they are creating value abroad, and they are earning lots of money. Sometimes when they have time, they come on social media and also argue and fight and discuss, those inane, unnecessary subjects. But at the same time, they go in their shells and they do some big stuff, and then the other ones that are being attracted by the biggest companies, there's no big company abroad in the digital economy that don't have Nigerians working in very, very important spaces.
Absolutely.
So it's just like letting people know that, and also there's a conversation on communicating faith in today's world. There's a conversation on digital activism and advocacy. There is a side of business, both big and small business. I discussed cybersecurity, and also had some of the big players and not so big players in the different spaces, the economy, advocacy, government, talk about what they're doing, share their experiences, their failings, the prospects for the future. Just
lastly, very quickly before you go, because most of the people that are watching this show, they won't be able to sit down with Jack Ma and Jack Dorsey, when they're invited to events by the VP. So what kind of practical steps or advice would you give to some people who are watching that want to tap into this trillion-dollar business?
Basically, go on the internet and just explore, ask questions, ask Google, and also study some of these people, not just those that are doing it big in America and China and India and all these other places. Some of the Nigerians that have made a headway, study them. Even if I say so myself, my book would actually be a good guide into understanding what's going on. And thankfully, it's not so expensive on Amazon. And really, even if I say so myself, if you don't know exactly what to do, just get the book, because it's a rendition of different opportunities and different ways you could go into, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a student, whether you're a Nigerian in the diaspora, irrespective of what you're doing. it's an offering for everyone to pick and to know where to get started.
An offering for everyone. So we buy the book.
Yeah.
We can tap into that
money back guarantee
economy.
And thankfully, loads of people are doing that already. I'm so happy.
Oh, thank you, JJ Omojo. I'm happy for you,
thank you
too. Sadly, that's all we have time for today, but do get in touch with your comments and suggestions. I'll see you at the same time next week for more in-depth business analysis on Channels Business Global. Goodbye.